There are so many other things that we can change. And I ask you, are you willing to do the types of things that some of us have done? Yes. Are you willing to turn your lives upside down and work towards unifying our nation? Yes. Every gender, every color, every creed, every race, every religion, even without religion. Are you willing to unify as Americans? Yes. We cannot abide by violence. We cannot abide by indifference. We cannot abide by merely social media-ing our way through the change that we require. We must act. We must act with love. We must act with character. And we must act with integrity. And this is how we will unite against hate. Thank you.
I am overwhelmed and humbled to see all of you guys out here today. I mean, we've got every color, shape, style. I mean, from my point of view, this is so overwhelming and powerful. And I just need to thank you all for coming together today. Can you hear me? I'm sorry. Yes. And in 2015, I'm just a regular person doing everything like just hopeless despair. And I made a decision to put these crazy love glasses on my head and choose love as a reminder to go out and love myself first and then figure out what does that mean? How do I show up in the world with it once you do that? I've been meeting every kind of group, Latinx, people of color, we go to Black Lives Matter, we're LGBTQ, we're going to events, we're hearing people, we're learning the issues. And guess what? Our issues are not different than their issues. Not at all. So one day there was a Latina woman and she was having a conversation and she said, I'm afraid to go to the grocery store because people think that, in my neighborhood, think I'm a terrorist. Well, that took me back because that's my word. That's my word, but it wasn't. They felt the same way. We all have the same things going on. And I think what we're doing here today needs to be replicated, duplicated on a bigger scale every day, all day.
But ladies and gentlemen, I am actually originally from Virginia. And so when I saw everything that was happening in Charlottesville, Virginia, I wasn't surprised. I actually thought it would happen sooner. Because the attitudes, we've got to deal with the attitudes here. We've got to deal with the alt-right. The alt-right isn't new. The alt-right is the new Ku Klux Klan. Y'all know who the Ku Klux Klan are. Don't get quiet. Y'all know who they are. Some of y'all probably here. Y'all here? If you're in the Klan, raise your hand. But my point is, ladies and gentlemen, we got to check the attitude. People may not be in the organization, but they may have a Klan attitude. They may have an anti-black attitude. They may have an anti-LGBT attitude. They may have an anti-immigrant attitude. They may have an anti-religion attitude, Islamic attitude. You got to check that. You can't let it go unchecked. Why? Because things like what Dylan Roof did in Charleston, South Carolina will happen. Things like Columbine happened. Things like 9/11 happened. We got to check attitudes, ladies and gentlemen.
This is so encouraging to see because that's the reason why I got into this race. I have to start there and say it's more than just being mad. We can be mad, we can be sad, we can have all the emotions in the world. We can see things that happen across our country and say, how dare they do that? But it's action. Being mad and sitting in a chair and sharing Facebook likes, that doesn't do anything. It creates awareness, but action. You're out here, this is the first step towards creating action. If you're truly mad, if you're truly incensed by what you see, come out. Come out and walk with us, because the person I'm running against, you know what his response to this thing in Charlottesville was? You ready for his response? Sad. Yeah, exactly. And so this is why I am in this race right now. Honestly, I've got 2 daughters. They're black. We adopted them from the state of Arizona. Being a white parent of a black child, there is no more important message that you can be there for your children to understand that you got to get out there and change the message. You got to get out there and change the rhetoric. You can't just tell them you're beautiful and the world accepts you the way you are.
Right.
It's more than that. It's more than that. Because unfortunately, that's not always the case.
That's right.
But you got to teach them what their voice means. You got to teach them to come out, and you got to teach them to stand for something.
So, with my friend Murphy Bannerman over here, raise your hand. One of our planners, our wonderful steering committee for the We the People Summit. Did y'all hear about this? Do you know what that was? No. Not enough people. In June, we had 1,500 people at the convention center, all learning how to organize. We had 36 different workshops. How to run for office, how to organize your neighborhood, how to raise money, how to understand the struggles of our friends in the First Nations, LGBTQ, African American, women's rights struggles, diversity struggles. We were all there working together. We're going to do another one. All right? I want you there, November 4th. Watch on Facebook for the We the People Summit. We need you there. This is where the rubber hits the road.
There are still Nazis, white supremacists, white nationalists, anti-LGBT groups, anti-women's groups scattered throughout the valley, all around you. They are our neighbors, but they are not neighborly. We got to do the stuff we got to do for the elections. We got to get the people in office. We got to get the people to be responsible to our agenda and our needs and our rights. But by the same token, the power structures are not limited to elected officials. We got to say no to everybody, regardless of if they're elected to office or not, whatever position of power they occupy, who has these attitudes that resulted in 1 death and 19 injuries yesterday.
Usually, folks do not get extremely riled up over situations like this until, sadly, a martyr like our sister Heather yesterday has her life taken. The reality is they're trying to strike at the heart of what the promise of America is. Somebody on the inside, however, said that the crowds that have joined us inside and out here are America, and those folks that showed up with such hate in Charlottesville are not. I agree with that sentiment, but I don't agree with the letter of it. They are as American as apple pie. They've been around since the beginning of the Republic. And one of the reasons why we're still dealing with them is because we are like in the Matrix, having swallowed, what was it, the red pill? Believing somehow that they're gone, that somehow they were destroyed after the Civil War, or somehow after we defeated, at least in battle, Nazism during World War II, we had won. We can spike the football and celebrate that we live in a post-racial society now that Obama won and has left the office. The reality is, for every movement, there is a counter movement. And when we start celebrating, thinking that we can spike the football, that's when they're out planning and plotting.
We're going to have a real cool speaker to speak in 1 second, but I just want to know, since everybody is energized at this moment, everybody is together at this moment, we shouldn't have to wait for a tragedy to happen before we do this at this moment, okay? So what I want to know is how many people here are already activated or have signed up with a group to actually take action for the future? How many? I need hands up. For those who have not, please look at the people who have raised their hands, and I want you right now to get their information, and I want you to sign your names, give your emails, give your phone numbers up to anybody else for those organizations, whether it's Indivisible, whether it's Stronger Together, whether it's NAACP, Urban League, Easy Blue 2020. So please sign up with one of these groups, please. They're all around you. Seek somebody, because we need to get these numbers a lot higher, okay? We need to get a lot higher. So don't just come out the next time somebody's killed. The next time a racist incident happens, we need you activated now.
So of course it's important that we denounce the hatred and terrorism, the murder of Heather Heyer. What a sad, sad moment. As we remember those 2 police officers that were killed trying to protect people's rights as well. 3 people died yesterday. We need to denounce it by name. but in so many ways, just announcing it is too easy. We also have other work to do in our city, in our state, and our country. So as was just mentioned, getting active, rolling up our sleeves, getting involved in our body politic. Let's restore the Voting Rights Act in the United States of America. Like it belongs, people can participate in our community. Support Arizona SOS, those moms and teachers that work so hard to fight for our public schools and equity in our public schools. I am so heartened by their incredible work to get that on the ballot. Let's fight to make sure it stays on the ballot, and let's fight to make sure that that voucher law that pulls money away from our public schools, particularly those young students that could use it so much. You got it right. It hits hardest our communities of color.
I am still fighting. We're still fighting the fight that my ancestors did 60 years ago. We just integrated schools, people. Yes. I ask that you get involved at the local level. I ask that you commit to attending your next school board meeting, which is a public information that you can find on your school district's website, and you also can even follow them on social media because they have all the pages. But there's a few things that we need to know what our local school district should be doing. Number one, they need to pass the equity challenge. The equity challenge is calling for all school districts to pull their data on student discipline. This data needs to be broken down into subgroups. Why do we need to know about the subgroups? Because there's obviously disparities when black boys are 8 times as likely to be suspended and black girls are 4 times as likely to be suspended. And some of our Native American indigenous communities are almost suspended at 20 times. It's not fair. So we're going to ask about that equity committee. We're going to ask to pull that data. We're going to organize and start showing up in numbers at those governing board meetings. That's great. That your school district needs to put together a comprehensive equity committee that consists of parents, students, staff, and administration. Okay?